Rolling.
Welcome back to the Men on the Internet podcast. Right there, we have our resident Hispanic.
What's going on? I'm Chris.
We have our one of a billion.
Yeah. It's Sunil.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
And me, Kerbin Johnston. All right, so how's everybody doing?
Doing fantastic, my dude.
Wonderful. So I have a quick question for you guys.
All right.
They're saying, and it's kind of peril, but you know we're in a good mood, but it's kind of peril. So they're saying that by the end of this year we gonna have like.
I'm so sorry. I have to pee. Pause your question. I'm sorry. Still rolling.
We're still rolling. All right. Well,
okay.
Sunil, how's dating? No. You good.
Keep it on, just you?
Yeah, it's fine.
All right.
How's dating going?
Yeah, I'm actually changing up my approach. So I don't know if you remember, I was big about just dating one person at a time. So there's been a few changes. So one, based off of our conversations, I've started creating female friends.
Amen.
So I've have like a couple of girls that are strictly platonic friends that I think are enhancing just life. It's not even about insight. It's just about, you could have a certain type of fun. And I think that's one. And then also they've been telling me, be open to dating multiple people at the same time.
I agree with that.
So that's something that's different in the approach. And I'm also not too much pressure on it, to be honest. Like I'm content. If someone great comes along that we find common values and want to invest in a relationship, I'm all about that. But I'm not pressed for it right now.
Let me ask you this question about dating multiple people. Do you get physical with all of them?
No, that's one of the reasons. So I think the reason why I was really big about dating one person at a time is because I've been on the flip side of it, and it's very uncomfortable, I think. But I've realized that I think it's more about the person versus that situation. So if it's a type of person that doesn't cut other stuff off and always leaves things open-ended, I think that's a unhealthy way of dating. Because when I believe that if you are dating multiple people and then you decide to, okay, we're just going to focus on each other and be exclusive, there should be a strong cutoff from everybody else that they don't have access to anymore. I feel like I've had situations where that wasn't the case.
Yeah. I also feel like when you're, not you, but like when people are dating multiple people, it's probably wise to not get physical until you
Are exclusive.
Yeah, until you decide, like, I want to cut things off. And the reason why, aside from, like, safety, I think I've said this multiple times, like, I don't want to be somebody's trauma. And I know that the moment your lips touch somebody else's, feelings kind of expand and they alter and they change and things like that. And it kind of takes away from the experience of dating that person. Like, just enjoying their personality and
it
just
clouds
like
things.
it makes things more like, okay, now we have to hold hands, now in 3 weeks I have to find out, like, what are we in, like all of that stuff, versus just being like, yo, let me just enjoy you. And that way the cutoff, like when you cut, like if you're dating 3 or 4 people, and you're just enjoying your time together, the cutting off of them is not this like vicious thing of like, well, we were sleeping together, we were doing all this stuff. It's no longer that. It's just like, hey, this didn't really match, and we can go our separate ways without being traumatic to each other.
You know what else I've had to realize, because I was only dating one person at a time, I was able to very quickly get physical with certain females. And what I realized is that I think women, yeah. What'd I say?
Females.
Certain females?
Yeah.
Is that a wrong thing to say?
I heard somebody say females, like, don't call me a female.
Interesting. Sorry, I didn't mean to offend anybody. Women. But you know what? It changes the relationship from like genuinely like liking somebody because, oh, this is a new thing. Oh, I didn't know this about you and all that kind of stuff, to where you have to, I feel from a woman's perspective, this is what I've gleaned. They start like forcing, like, I need to like you because we've already done this.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of goes to what you were saying, where it does take away from the natural progression. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of it's tough because I think it does take self-discipline, and it does take like an actual you have to actively be looking at relationships that way.
Yeah.
Because I think naturally, especially when you're older, and you know, for me, I don't just be sleeping around, all that kind of stuff, and you find somebody you find interested, they're attracted to you, you're attracted to them, and then like the moment happens, like I think I am on your page where it's like actively let it like take time, like don't let it get to that point so quickly.
I'm also like I'm a little bit scared that people won't genuinely, not people, but like if I'm like dating somebody, they won't genuinely like me for me. And that's because it's like, okay, we've been talking for 2 weeks. What's next? And it's like a reoccurring thing is happening where it's like, oh, we went through the phase of we've been talking for X amount of time. Now we have to take this to another bucket. Like it has to go somewhere where now you throw away how you feel about that person for the generic of like, well, that's my boyfriend, or like, that's my girlfriend. I'm supposed to feel this way. Mm-hmm. And then like it keeps blowing up. It keeps just being like, oh, you know, I don't like you in this sense. I don't like you like that. Like now I'm just like, I really need to focus if our freaking
connection
gears align, you know,
long term, not just initially.
Yeah. Like I need to know I can be silent with you. I need to know that I can be talkative with you. I need to know like a lot of things before it gets to that level. Just because right now I keep noticing a pattern of like 3-4 months goes by and then it's like, you know what, this doesn't work. It's like I can't keep doing that loop of 3-4 months.
Do you think it's because it takes do you feel like maybe you're taking longer with exposing your true self to these people? Because let's be honest, if it's happening multiple times, you're the common denominator, not them.
Right.
So what is it that you think you can control versus the time? Maybe it's something else. Maybe because one thing that I think we've kind of been not opposing, but we just do differently is you take things a lot slower.
Yeah.
But in slower, it also takes people a lot longer to get to know all aspects of you. Mm-hmm. And so that to me makes sense why you would be going through these situations constantly, because you just are kind of not introvert, but like you hold back your true self because you're always kind of overthinking how the other person's gonna react. Whereas for me, I use my personality as a filter. From day one, you're getting 100% me. So things end quicker as well, because it's like you find out very quickly that this isn't gonna be a good match.
Well, I think I take time because I started getting scared of the like month-long situationships, and then being like, okay, maybe we went too fast. Maybe I need to take 2 months, and that didn't quite work out. Maybe I need to take 3 months, because now it's either I'm finding out things or they're finding out things about me. I don't necessarily feel like, and I could be, but I don't necessarily feel like I'm like, let me not show you who I am, because I almost feel like it's hard for me to hide me from the world. You know what I mean? Like I just,
Well,
but with that being said, I think some of the detriment of that is because I take a longer time, a lot of people just equate it to maybe he just doesn't like me. And it's like,
like you don't like them.
Yeah, that I don't like them because I'm not
quick. It's not emotional so quickly.
No, and I have a long checklist because not only do I not want to be somebody's trauma, but I'm not trying to be re-traumatized over and over and over. So I'm like very slow to letting somebody just be like, oh, I like you. What does that mean to me? Well, let me see what it means in your actions. Let me see, and versus you telling me that, most times I almost don't believe it. I almost just don't believe somebody says, oh, I really like you. I take like 10% of that. And then I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then, we'll see what happens from there. And a lot of times the actions are what I'm like,
is that a guard?
It probably is, because I think I got like 2 bad hurts in me. And then after that,
left?
No, that like hit me hard. And then I was just like, I think I'm done. Like, I don't want to hurt like this anymore. I don't want to drink tequila and squirt. I don't want to do this, So it's just more like, I really need to refine the process.
Right.
And if you can't stick around for that, then.
But do you think maybe you're not over those things, and that causes the issues? Because I do feel like sometimes we adjust thinking that it's going to avoid the problem, but we're not actually healed from the actual situation.
I think the difficult thing about this, about that question, is you learn from you live in a learned experience.
Yeah.
So because you went through X, Y, and Z, A, B, and C happened.
Sure.
So I can't say I still close my eyes and say, man, I wish I was still in this, and that. But I do close my eyes and say, I don't want that to happen again. Right. So what can I do to avoid that?
Well, I think that one of the things is understanding the signs that maybe we ignored that caused the situation to get to what it is, and then understanding that it's because we ignored signs versus we did something wrong behavior-wise. I don't know if that makes sense, because I think so I've been devastated from a relationship where it took me years to get over someone. And for me,
who's coming in? You want to pause?
No, go ahead.
For me, it was initially all the people I was dating after that was with the specific mindset, I never want to get hurt like that again. But in doing that, my level of tolerance was very small, probably too small, so that I was getting out of situations extremely quick. Yeah. I wasn't even giving them a chance.
It's like a swing. Yeah. You go from extreme to extreme until you find a way for it to settle in the
right
middle,
balance,
which is normal.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I think maybe from what I'm gaining from what you're saying is you're like that, but on the opposite side, where you're like, I'm not going to get committed till they pass this checklist and I feel completely comfortable, because I never want to get emotionally vulnerable to the point that I could get devastated like that again, right? But I think both ways, the way that I approached it and maybe the way that you're approaching it, might not be advantageous to actually a healthy relationship.
Right, it's true. And sometimes, I think another issue is it could swing violently one way and the other way. So what I mean is okay, we've been talking for a month and a half, 2 months. I finally decided okay, I think we can move forward with this. Then I'm super invested. Then it's
you're 0 to 100.
Yeah, boom. And then it's well, that's a problem too, because
they're not realizing they can't. That's a big shock.
Yeah, exactly. Because I just woke up and in a relationship now, boom. Let's be in this thing, and it's whoa, I just wanted to hold your hand and go to the movies, and just
I just wanted you to be 5% more Kelvin.
Yeah. But it's just no, the moment I say I'm in, it's kind of like my personality. If let's say it was work, for example, let's say I had 3 offers on the table, interviewing for all 3, and they all give me an offer. I'm gonna not be game for any of them until I make the choice. Okay, cool, I chose this one, I'm 100% in. And that is how I kind of approach everything, and that could be good. I think that you need to segment out when that works and when it doesn't.
Right.
And like, what is a natural progression and how I can do that so that I can avoid even just hurting myself.
Yeah.
Because some of it is hurting yourself. Like going into a relationship, just springboarding into it. And then when it ends, you're unnaturally emotionally connected.
Right.
When it shouldn't have even really been that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because one of the biggest feedbacks that I get from these type of shows when we talk about it is like females don't really understand that guys have trauma when it comes to relationships, and it really affects the way I think like most girls just think guys are trash and that they don't care and that like they're just out here just trying to get their dick into anything. When that I think
is anything available?
You know, I was talking to this psychologist, and she was telling me how like guys in general cheat more than women, which I absolutely agree. I think in general guys cheat more than women.
I've heard that women are starting to cheat a lot more though.
But get this, but I was like, you know, from my personal experience, I was telling this girl, I was like, my close guy friend circle, I do have a lot of friends that have cheated, but it was always after they had been emotionally wrecked from a relationship. Like they had their heart broken. And in reaction to that, not saying it was correct, but I'm saying in reaction to that, to protect themselves, they never allowed themselves to get emotionally involved like that, and they would cheat and stuff like that. And she was like, well, that's just you and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, she was like, there's articles and all this kind of stuff. So I was like, let me just do a quick Google search. And I said, who cheats more, men or women? The first thing that popped up that was like a peer-reviewed, all this kind of article, it showed that at earlier ages, women cheat more than men. And then as the timeline went it started increasing where men were cheating more than women. And I was like, well, it must not be just me. I showed her the article. I was like, it must not be just me, because this is kind of proving my point that like when a guy gets hurt, their reaction is to not like, and I'm not saying it's the right reaction, but I'm saying like I've seen that be the trajectory. Whereas I think females are women. I'm sorry, are stronger when it comes to. I think they're just more emotionally probably in tune, and they don't necessarily say, "Oh, just because this guy hurt me, I'm gonna just cheat now and not ever trust the guy." I think, I don't know. That's just been my personal experience.
I think the reasons for cheating is also very different. Like guys, I think cheat for like one or two reasons, which is probably just lust. And the second reason why a guy would cheat is just like a lack of emotional connection.
Insecurity still.
Yeah, you know, just like I like this girl, but not enough to break it off. Or I don't like this girl, but not enough to break it off. And then I'm gonna go cheat because that fills up the little void that's I have with her. You know, so it's like, you know, we're like rock brained. You know, it's just very simple stuff. But I think,
Why do women cheat?
I think it's for the same reason as men, the second one, but it's like 100% that reason, or like 90% that reason, because it's like, okay, he's a good guy, but something is missing. I'm not getting that, and I don't want to lose him. It's like having your cake and eating it too. Like I want to be filled in tank 1 and tank 2, whereas guys, I often hear stories of guys who cheat and it's revealed that they cheated, not that they told that they cheated. It's like, oh, I found out he was cheating,
right?
Versus I think a woman would probably eventually just tell you, like, that's why I was with you, or whatever, you know what I mean?
Wow.
So I just wonder, like, when that is gonna not be a part of our culture.
I think never. I think it's always going to be, because I mean, there's this prevailing thought process that humans aren't supposed to be monogamous. Like there's a big like thing that like people aren't supposed to be monogamous. So I think there's a lot of people that attest to that. So, you know, there's always going to be that. I think even if that's true, I think there's value in being disciplined in life. And I think that discipline in showing, you know, even a monogamous person, I don't feel like doesn't have those urges to like step out, or they're attracted to somebody else. And all. It's really just discipline whether it be morals or just like, you know, I don't want to hurt this person because I understand that whatever temporary is not worth messing this up type of situation. I think it's more that. And as I've gotten older, I've learned more value in that because I used to cheat. I mean, yeah, I used to cheat. I've cheated before. It wasn't like a behavior like
You had
I
to
was
think
saying.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
wait a
no,
minute. Yeah, that was me.
It's different because it's like I also was never like quote unquote in a relationship because remember I wasn't allowed to have relationships, so I always use that as a technicality, but the reality is I was cheating because this person thought that it was a certain way and it wasn't. But yeah, now I find value in like monogamy. I think that you can feel safer, you can do more actually, like sexually within somebody that you have that trust. They trust you, you trust them. And, you know, I think that that type of relationship is much better than just like random strange.
Yeah.
Was this your original question, by the way, before I left? I'm sorry.
It was not. Oh, my question was about cars and food.
Oh, for sure.
But,
Right on.
but it's so bleak that I think I'm gonna just let it go.
Right on.
But yeah, this is important. I think a lot of guys don't talk about this stuff. They don't talk about their like inner thoughts about why things work and don't work. And some of the women that listen to this podcast, shout out to all you guys, ladies. I mean, they really get like a certain sense of value when we talk about this. And I wanted to ask about why your mentality has changed about the future, but both you guys. And I want to ask that because you said something about monogamy and you want to be married, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But you seem pretty secure in your life. Like you kind of seem like, and I'm talking to Chris, you kind of seem like if things stayed like this, like financially you would grow and everything like that. But if things stayed in the same bucket as it is right now forever, you'd be fine.
Yeah, I'd say so. I don't know. It's different because marriage and kids and all that stuff, it's not on my radar right now. Like my thing right now is me. Like I want to focus on the company and what I'm doing with my life, and I want to grow that way. And I guess mentally, just what I'm thinking is if I grow that way, then I'll be ready for bringing another person into my life, as far as like official marriage and kids and all that stuff, and starting a family, house and all that.
Don't you feel like when, this might be too much, but living together doesn't already kind of put you in that bucket
What do you mean?
of like having somebody else in your life?
Yeah. I guess. Sure. I guess living together. That's
You know
a
what
big
black people call
step.
it.
What's that?
You know what black people call
What do they call it?
shagging up.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. Well, that's what they say.
Oh,
You know. So typically when y'all live in the same four walls,
right.
it's pretty much like, okay, you took the relationship to another level.
Yeah.
So I get kind of surprised when you say you focus on you. I would imagine there's like a kind of a wall between you and the emotional side because you're focused on the career side.
Right.
But does that wall ever break down?
Yeah, I think so. I just feel my thing is me. I don't feel prepared enough, good enough, whatever you want to call it, to like move into marriage, move into kids, start a family, and all that stuff. I just feel like I'm not putting in my half, if that makes sense.
But my question now would be, what would change if you got married?
How would you see it as different? Because I was thinking the same thing. It's like, because I guess the only thing I could see is like you feel like there's a way out right now. But that, I guess that would be the only difference, right?
I guess, yeah. I don't know. I didn't really think. I haven't thought about it like that. I don't know.
'Cause I've
Marriage
thought
is
about
just
the same
It's just a
thing.
big step. Like it's a big.
But I guess I understand
Like,
what
living
Kelby's
together
saying.
is one thing. Marriage is a whole other thing.
But I guess that's the thing that I'm, because you're not just living together. You guys split bills. You guys, every aspect of your guys' life is pretty much together.
I guess, yeah. I don't know.
It's not like you guys are
It
roommates.
might be a mental thing, especially as like guys. Because I've thought the same thing too, but then eventually I started thinking about it like, all right, what's the difference? I think honestly, the thing I'm not prepared for is a wedding.
Yeah, that too.
That's what I'm not prepared for.
Yeah.
But the marriage, I've never seen myself as somebody's husband, to be honest with you. I've never seen myself getting down on one knee, messing up my sneakers and stuff to ask you in front of your family. But it could happen, in the future. But that doesn't scare me. The wedding does.
Right on. Yeah.
Like the cost of it.
The cost, I can't imagine like my family being there. I gotta kiss somebody in front of y'all. Like I just can't. I can't imagine.
Right, yeah.
I can't imagine.
I wonder if that all changes once you're with the right person, though.
I'm sure
Yeah.
it does. I'm sure it does. But that has yet to happen.
Has your girl put like a time frame on it?
No.
Because I remember I dated this one girl, and she was like, "If we're not engaged in 2 years, we're breaking up."
That's a good amount of time. Do you think? I feel like it's a good. If you're over 30,
if you're not engaged in 2 years,
Yeah, like once we got serious, and like she's like, "I just want you to know, if you haven't proposed to me in 2 years, we're done."
I'm not mad at that.
And
I mean, I don't know about
that's
that.
somebody who
Like, it
just
was-
knows, like, all right, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I want.
correct. That's what I'm saying. So, but I would assume like we're talking about it from a male understanding, but you're not with a male, so like I'm sure maybe her thought process is it different? I don't know.
To her, it's the same thing. I think it just comes down to financials. I think that's what's scaring the both of us. Is she's in a career that's not paying as much as we anticipated. So now it's like, okay, where do we go from here? Where are we gonna change? Where are we gonna move? Like, I'm not sure if she's gonna be at the same job that she's at now, location wise. So it's like,
But it's so interesting because you're
moving
saying
around.
we.
Hold on. Let me go back to this 2-year thing.
Yeah.
Real quick. I want to clarify why I said I'm okay with that. I am okay with people having goals. What I'm not okay with is the goals of being engaged taking precedence over the actual relationship, where it's like, okay, you have this goal of being together for 2 years, but what if our trajectory doesn't meet that? And we have a lot of stuff to work on. We have a lot of counseling that needs to happen to make this work. And then time is up and then you give up on it. Where it was like, no, it could have worked. We just needed fine tuning and like, who knows, like church or something.
Yeah.
Like, so that's what I mean to say. Like, I'm okay with somebody having that initial goal, but so many people take that goal, put it ahead of the actual relationship and how they feel and blah blah, because they know, well, in 2 years I need to get engaged, and in 2.5 years I need
to
to
pressured on.
Yeah.
Pressure.
The pressure is nuts, and it's like it's not a real thing.
I didn't take it as pressure. I took it as her letting me know that, hey, I'm not just here for fun.
Yeah.
Like, if this isn't going somewhere, it was more like that.
How long did it last?
We were together for
A year and 11 months.
We were together for
59 minutes.
maybe like it was probably around 2 years altogether. But we didn't work out for other reasons. But what I'm saying is, like, I actually like that. I think that I understand, and I understand like women that are also that don't put that pressure, that end up being like in a relationship for 4 or 5 years, and it hasn't, it's still just like a not like a casual relationship, but like they don't have that investment from the dude that they're looking for at that point.
It has to exist.
Because they've never really put their foot down and been like, I'm not here just to be your girlfriend forever. Eventually I want this to be a wife. I want to be married. I want to have kids. I want to do all that kind of stuff. So that's why I find it interesting in your situation that like you haven't really heard that or that pressure. But it also intrigues me, Chris, because everything that you talk about is with her in mind. So that's what's confusing to me.
I see a couple as two separate human beings together. Like, she has to have her own life, her own goals. Like, I don't want to step in front of that. I don't want to have... And she just feels the same way. She doesn't want to step in front of my goals or whatever it is. So it's cohabitation. It's more than cohabitation, obviously. But it's like understanding each other's needs, wants, and all that stuff. That's why I say I'm doing it with her in mind.
Right.
Because if I make a move and then I end up being located in New York, well, she doesn't
She's not moving in. She
not
can't.
moving.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the moment.
So do you firmly believe that the future is y'all, or do you firmly believe that the future is me and maybe you?
Ooh, that's a lot.
That's a big question.
Yeah. I don't think he should be
I don't know.
answering unless.
Well, what I'm asking, because like the example you just said was like, I could go to New York and she stays here, but if I was in a relationship, I would be like, I don't know if I'm going to New York.
That's what he's saying.
Oh,
He said that right now. He was talking about, and correct me if I'm wrong, you are making decisions based off of her because
Correct,
you
yeah.
understand
Yeah.
that it is a duo. So I can't put myself in a situation where I have to go out. to New York.
okay. I was confused. I thought you
Yeah.
were saying like, if I gotta go, I gotta go.
No.
Oh, okay. Now I
It's
understand.
just it's communication. Communication is
Makes sense.
100% key in any relationship, and that's how I think we've lasted so long. Is because I'm not gonna know what the fuck you want unless
Yeah, right.
you fucking tell me.
Right.
So just talk. We'll talk it out.
That's
and if it
interesting.
doesn't work, it doesn't work. Then
Do
we'll
you-
figure it out.
Do you feel like you guys could be a couple that are together for another 10 years and still not married?
Well, he's so young
I
though.
don't know. I think so.
Well, that would be like 38.
Yeah, 10 years, 38. I think so.
And also, I mean, I can't speak for none of us are women, but I feel like older women gets, especially if they have visions of having children and stuff like that, that becomes a different thing because there are women that are afraid of having children later on in life. They want to have it, in their prime time. Even though I think that older mothers are more and more prevalent now.
Yeah, but it's also like a health thing. I don't know if they're able to have kids.
Right.
Geriatric.
Well, I mean, even like you're starting to see women in their 40s have kids, which was which was kind of unheard of before. Men in their 50s having kids and stuff like that, first kids and stuff like that. So
One of my fears, aside from losing my hair, is being an old dad.
Does your mom's side of the family all have hair?
My grandpa.
Because that's the trait. If your mom's side.
Yeah, that's what they say. I mean, I don't have my dad's hairline, which is the Sherman Hemsley, but my grandpa had like a full head of hair, but just like the
Little spot.
top bald.
when did he start losing it though?
I don't know.
I feel
probably-
like you're safe.
yeah,
Yeah,
about to
I'm
get
not
on some
worried.
stuff.
My grandfather had like a full head of hair, like more than this.
yeah,
I started losing my hair real early,
like
Oh, yeah?
20s.
earlier than that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I knew I was thinning like in high school.
Wow.
Damn. Well, aside from that, I don't want to be an old dad because I can barely run right now. So
feel like that's
imagine me
different,
running
though.
after this
Well,
child.
I'm not planning on running period for this child. They're in sports, not me.
I had a big fear of that when I was younger, but now that I'm already there, like I'm older, like for me,
This is what it is.
Well, I keep myself in shape. Like I still feel like I have a very young energy. Like, and I've seen so many people that are older than me having kids that are just, it's fine. I think science is different than when we were, people are a lot healthier. I mean, I'm at the gym and I'm seeing like 40, 50 years. I'm like, dang, dude, when I was 18, I wish I had your body. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, I think things have changed where age, like, is just a number at this point. Like, it's not a death sentence if you take care of yourself, work out, eat right. I think that you can be fine. So yeah, I'm not as afraid anymore. For me, it's all about, I think finances does play a role, but for me, it's all about the partner. Like, I definitely don't want to have a kid that isn't going to see a healthy relationship. I think that's the most important thing to me.
So there was a video that was going viral a week ago, and it was this woman who has 4 kids, and I want to say 4 baby daddies, but one of the baby daddies, her ex-boyfriend, was bringing lunch to his daughter. McDonald's. He brought McDonald's to his kid every day. Did you see this video? Okay, so the story is she feels like she's exposing him because he only brought McDonald's for lunch to his daughter and not her 3 other kids.
Right.
And she just felt like that was wrong. It was messed up. And she aired him out in this video and was like, you knew I had 3 other kids when you had this 4th kid with me, and you only bring in your daughter McDonald's. What about my 3 other kids?
That's one less meal you gotta pay for. For your kids, for the mom.
Well, no, the mom's saying if you're gonna bring food for one kid, you better bring food for all the kids.
No. Why?
Because
Let's debate it, Chris.
Yes.
I don't think so.
Why not?
It's your kid. First of all, I don't know what the situation is. Are you paying?
Okay,
child
I'll tell
support?
you some more.
Oh, go ahead.
So she had food stamps.
Okay.
And she was like, my food stamps don't come to the 17. And
That's
he was
one
like,
less stamp.
Yeah, he was like, what's that? What that got to do with me? And then her response was, when they were dating, he would bring McDonald's for all the kids and his kid. And then once they broke up, he was like, I'm just going to take care of my one child.
Right.
So that's her thing where it's like, well, when we were dating, you were taking care of all my kids. I got 3 other baby daddies, but they not doing what they supposed to do. So
And no, how is that his problem though? How's the 3 other baby daddies on him to bring
He's the
McDonald's,
present
whatever?
I feel like it's the slow roach. Like you're the one that's left when the light is on. So you're supposed to take care of everything.
I feel
I think that's a personal preference.
How would you feel?
One, I would never be in that situation.
Never know.
First of all, I'm buying McDonald's for me. I'm just kidding.
No, second,
Come on.
no, and what I mean by that, not that I wouldn't be with a woman with kids and stuff like that. For me, if I have a relationship with a kid, like at any point, if there was a connection between me and those children, there will always be a connection for me with those children. I wouldn't feel comfortable just separating my child if I already had a connection with those children. So I would be bringing McDonald's for all of them. But that's a personal preference for me because whatever's going on between me and the mother has nothing to do with my relationship with these kids because they don't understand that. So like when I say I would never put myself in that situation is I'm not getting a connection with these kids without knowing that there's stability between me and this girl.
That's a good point. That if he has a relationship with the other kids.
Right.
All right, now it's kind of like, oh, you don't like me anymore? Like, the hell? Like,
Yeah,
from the
because
kid's
they don't
perspective.
understand. They can't just be like, well, he's like they see their sister or whatever having McDonald's and it's like, well, that's not your daddy. And like all of a sudden.
But
like,
what's the problem with the mom explaining that to the kids? Look, your father is James. He ain't here. Her father is here.
I don't think the woman is absolved of anything. What I'm saying is, for me personally, I can't control that the girl. What I'm saying for me, if I've been in a situation where I've been taking care of these kids, I'm not taking myself out of that situation just because all of a sudden me and this girl don't have a relationship anymore. Because like I said, I wouldn't start taking care of kids just to impress a girl. I'm taking care of kids because I feel like I'm responsible for these kids.
Have you dated a girl with kids?
Oh yeah.
But
I've never met
the kid.
Yeah.
Okay, I dated a girl with a kid once, and I didn't necessarily feel like it was my job because their situation, baby daddy it's a whole messed up situation, so he was not around, and I didn't necessarily feel like I had to take care of that child, but if she was with her mom, I do recognize that they come as a package deal.
Right.
So when I no longer have a relationship with the mom, I don't have a relationship with that kid anymore. It's a wrap. That relationship came with mom and it leaves with mom.
But I don't think you necessarily probably had that deep of a relationship with the kid at that point.
I mean, there was moments where I'd go out with the kid without the mom. And it was cool. Like it was like a kind of mentorship, big brother type thing. But still, that is not mine. And it comes with the first door is mom. And if that door is shut, then the access to the child is also shut.
Sure. But that's the mother's decision at that point, right? Like if that girl knocked on your door and was like, hey, Kelby, I need some advice or I need some help. Are you like, I don't have nothing to do with you anymore?
I'm going to, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lead you to a way where you can continuously help yourself because that's your situation. But
are you talking about the kid or the
if the kid knocked on my door? Well, if the kid knocked on my door, that's different. Like if a kid knocked on your door, to ask you for help without mom, there's a serious thing happening there,
Right?
Where I'm gonna help you out as a human being. But if it's not a serious situation and it's just like, oh, I need you to buy me some blah 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 for school, I'm like, no. First of all, let's go talk to your mom. Let's find out what the situation is, and let's help you. Let's help y'all do that. But I'm not going to continuously leave myself. Because imagine if I dated 3 girls with kids and now I got to buy stuff for the kids. No.
I think it's just different. It depends on like the depth of what that relationship became. Because if that kid started seeing you as a father figure.
Sorry.
See, I'm different. To me, I would never put myself in that situation because if like you said, I don't want to pass that trauma you talk about in dating. Mm-hmm. That trauma with that kid is way bigger than anything that you're talking about.
That's what you're assuming. So let's put it like
can't
this.
Understand what two adult humans can understand.
Let's put it like this. I have a friend who got married to a woman who had kids before they got married, and then they got a divorce. And now, though that was stepdad and that was their father, ultimately, by adoption through marriage, that is no longer their marriage. And he's no longer treating that other man's children as his own because he was with mom for a while. Mm-hmm. And that's fair. It's not, you can't.
Fair to who?
It's fair to the kids. And here's why I say this. Just because you dated somebody and you built a connection with these kids because you dated their mom, it doesn't mean you have to be around forever. If you keep showing up, that's a problem. Because then, like, mom is moving on, doing this, doing that. Those kids have to understand that when things are over, they end. That's not traumatizing them. That's just giving them a dose of real life.
I just don't think that you can say that doesn't traumatize them. Whether they should understand it or not understand that, to me, if a kid keeps seeing, like, oh, this relationship isn't working now because of my mother, I don't think you lose somebody that you love because of that.
So, you never met the child.
That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't put myself in a situation like that because I don't see it that way. I don't think that big dose of reality is actual. Because at the end of the day, if I chose to create this relationship, whatever the why was, the minute that relationship was created, I'm responsible for that relationship. And I just feel a certain need to make sure that I'm not traumatizing that kid and being like, oh, well, I don't all of a sudden love you anymore because me and your mom didn't work. That's what I would never want to put myself in a situation for.
So let me ask you, in my situation where I met the kid, hung out, all this stuff, had a great relationship with them, should I still continue to try and be there for them?
Depends on the depth of that relationship. It doesn't seem like you guys were that close. Like it was just more of we're only hanging out because of your mom. At least from the way you're expressing it right now.
From my perspective, when the relationship is done with mom, that man should not be coming around to see the kid anymore. It has to end. Because at this point, that girl who I was with has been engaged 2 times. Mm-hmm. And imagine if the next guy is like, what is he still doing here? Trying to take care of it. Like, what does this mean? Like, you're not traumatizing a kid by ending a relationship. Things end. And the kid is not going to be like, oh, because
But how can you speak on what the kid's going to feel?
Because everybody experiences ending. Things that end.
Yeah, I think it's traumatizing to build relationships with somebody and it just end because of nothing that you did.
But what about a kid that goes to school?
So then that kid's reaction should be, I'm not going to get close to any of these guys because I don't know if they're going to be good. That's trauma.
That's up to mom then to talk to the kid and 100%.
100%. That's why I think it's up to the man in that situation to not put themselves in that situation unless they're there. I think that it's wrong to think that that kid isn't traumatized by that. At a certain point, they're going to get to a point where they're not connecting with people because they're like, I don't know why would I get close to this person if they're just going to bounce? That's trauma.
I don't know about that. So ultimately you're saying that you would have gotten the kids, all 4 kids.
If I get to that point, I'm saying I personally don't get to that point unless I'm sure because I don't want to have to be in that situation.
But let's say you were.
If I'm in that situation and I've treated these kids like they were my kids, I'm not walking away from them. I wouldn't walk away from my own kid. Why would I walk away? If I treated these and I let these kids believe that I'm treating you like I love you, like you're my child, and then just because this didn't work out with your mother, all of that stuff doesn't make that all that stuff wasn't true anymore. To me, that shows that's a reflection upon me, not the relationship at that point. Because those kids know that if I told those to those kids, that's how I'm going to treat you.
I think it works if the kids are older. Like if they're in high school or something like that, and then the relationship doesn't work out. When you're an adult, I can talk to you. I can give you real life advice. But a toddler, a 3-4-year-old, I'm not sticking around. Like you have your whole life for your mom to make new decisions, to be with a new person.
But at that point, there's not necessarily the connection that I'm talking about.
That's how old the kids were. They were like in the first grade.
I've dated this a girl that has a kid. She dated a guy that had a kid, and they were together for a few years, and then they broke up. She told me how traumatized her son was, that they couldn't hang out with the kids anymore. Like that guy pretty much did what you're talking about, where the kids can't see each other anymore. We don't talk anymore, all that kind of stuff. She was saying her child to this day is still impacted by that. Like still sad that he lost a brother, lost a father figure, all that kind of stuff. So to me, regardless, and that I think the kid's like 13 years old and still got affected to that point. So I think it's naive to think that there's not trauma with the kid, whether it's reality, all that kind of stuff. For me personally, I don't want to traumatize a kid. So that's why I take it a big responsibility if I'm dating someone that has kids. That relationship isn't happening unless I'm absolutely sure that it's going to be fine, even if we don't work out.
What do you think that should have happened in the case where with the friend and the two kids?
I think that if you build a relationship with a child to the fact that they're thinking that you're their father, that even if you're not by blood or not, like for me personally, by my moral compass, at that point, you've taken that responsibility. Don't build that relationship if you're not sure that you're going to be there through thick and thin.
I think maybe it's because I'm a child of divorce that I'm just like, you can't control what traumatizes me and what doesn't. Like some kids, parents split up and some kids are traumatized, some kids are not. And some kids have blended families and then they break up and then they don't. Like if I had a kid and there was a woman coming around and then we broke up, I would probably just be like, don't talk to my kid anymore. That's that. And if they're traumatized, well, I'll handle that. But that is an extension of me. If you're coming around taking them for ice cream and stuff, that's just making it worse. So I don't know. But it's a different perspective that I can look at. But I would love to know what everybody thinks. Tweet us. Actually, don't tweet us because I don't know the password.
That's facts.
Do you know it?
Yeah.
Oh, I've been asking for it. Okay, tweet us.
Oops.
It's the same.
What is it?
Password as everything else.
Got it.
At
don't say the password.
_podcast.
MOI_podcast on Twitter. And let us know what you think about this because this is a very different angle. But yeah, follow us on Instagram at MOI Podcast. And listen to each episode. If you can, leave us a review on Google or on Spotify and just let people know that you love the men on the internet. My name is Kerbin Johnston. Our resident white is at the VA or something.
He is.
And our two browns are right here. And we'll be back next week. Goodbye.